let's see. Where did I put my keys? Has anybody seen my keys? Have you seen my keys? Where are my keys? Where did I put my keys? Now, there's a place I should have put my key. You'll never guess what happened to me on the way to this event. It occurred to me I needed a key, and I had forgot to pick up the key. How many of you have lost your keys, can't remember where you put your keys, wondered who took your keys? Keys have become like the main thing in my life. In fact, sometimes it seems like I'm the keeper of the key, because it's important to keep our keys. One of the first signs of memory loss is the fact that you misplace things. It happens frequently. Now, there are two types of memory. There's short-term memory and there's long-term memory. My long-term memory is great. I can remember it being a kid growing up in Salt Lake City, Utah, and having the time of my life. My short-term memory is wonderful. I look around this room and I see friends and neighbors and resources and associates, and I can remember you. Sometimes you have to give me a clue, though. A little tip, a little hint. Now, is that because I'm losing my memory? I don't think so. I think that we have so much to remember nowadays that sometimes we can't tell the difference between the fact that we just have too much to remember or we're really losing our memory. 12 years ago, I found out that my mother couldn't find her keys ever again. Now, that was an awesome thing to have happen. But what it allowed me to do is to look at myself and to think about my life and my family's life. And when I forget my keys, or I forget to call someone that I'm supposed to call, is it because I'm losing my memory, because my mother did? Or is it that I was just disorganized and didn't have something in the right place? What I'd like to share with you today is different tips and techniques that I have learned over the years that will assist me. And it's going to be in three parts. One is information I've learned as a caregiver of my brain-impaired adult mother. One has been as a business owner and mother of 2 children who is just as busy as a cat on a hot tin roof. And the other is as a community volunteer whose main goal and desire is to bring together resources so you know whether or not your loved one is losing their memory, you're losing your memory, or the rest of the world's losing theirs. And those are the choices that we have. With short-term memory, it doesn't hang around long. It's like this will be short-term memory. You all will be here today. You all went through different events to get to this one. And you'll be here and you'll remember it for a while, and different parts of it that resonated with you will last, but the other parts of it will go away. Now, the part that resonates with you is the part that you put back in your subconscious. That's the part that becomes long-term memory. Well, how long a term can it be? You know, in watching my mother's transition from someone who was my mother, who was a successful businesswoman, to someone now who doesn't even remember who I am, now as I stand and look back, I see the things that I could have done to make a difference. And if I can share those things to you, and I'll give you a clue of what it is. There are many clues that has us remember that we're losing our memory. What did I forget? There's articles in the newspaper all the time. Every place you look, Ronald Reagan getting Alzheimer's disease, those types of things. But are you the one that's getting it? My mother left for me one time an article in 1979 when I was going through her desk that says, "Are you losing your memory?" Now, she had cut that out and she had written a date on it. So she had to have had a clue. So if you know someone and love someone and you have concerns about their memory loss, look around their spaces. See what it is they're reading. How many of you remember 78 records? 78 vinyl records. They don't even make them anymore. My mother had a set called Saving Your Memory. And it was in the bookshelf that I cleaned. So those are the kind of things to look at. If you have concerns about someone you love who may have memory loss, look to those kinds of clues. Those are the kinds of things that you'll notice. I found a birthday card that my mother had bought that she forgot to sign. She always signed all our love. She didn't sign her name. Well, you know, I looked at it when I got it, but I didn't think about it until I looked at it when I was going through my book of memories. So those are the kinds of things that you can look at. And those are the kind of things that are pointed out to you. In fact, when I went to Southern Caregiver Resource Center, they gave me all sorts of resources and information. They give me tips and techniques on how to talk to other family members. One of the most difficult parts of a family member losing their memory is that the family doesn't want to talk about it. The one losing their memory doesn't want to talk about it, or forgot. The one who's taking care of them, the caregiver, they're having their own struggles and problems. So there's resources that you can get. There's ways that you can talk. But stay in touch with your community. Now, whether it's your community like Pacific Bluffs is our neighborhood community, or Claremont is our neighborhood community, or if your community is your family members, the people dear to you that you love, stay in touch. Stay in open communication with them. The only way that you know what's going on is to ask people questions. Okay, now what if you're the one? What I told you this morning was not a joke. I did forget the key to this event. And it wasn't funny at 10 o'clock last night. And then this morning when I was standing trying to get things together thinking, what are you going to do? You're having all these people show up. What if you can't get in the door? I just started laughing. It's the funniest thing to have happened to me around this event. So what ended up happening is I called somebody who I knew was going to meet in this room after us and said, what am I going to do? And she's the leader of the San Diego Organic Garden Club. She says, now what's your event? I said, my event is where did I put my keys? She goes, this is a joke, right? And I said, I wished it were a joke, but the truth of the matter is I forgot to pick up the key last night. She just like laughed, and then she was able to help me. So that's what you have to do. You have to laugh about it. One of the things I've learned over the years is life is much, much, much too mysterious to take serious. You have to laugh. When I watched my father take care of my mother after 11 years, if it were me, I would not be able to do what he does. He does it because he loves her. So right now, take care of the ones that you love, whoever they are. If they're a neighbor, if they're a daughter, a husband, a wife, you know, whoever it is in your life that you love, be kind to them. In fact, I read the other day in a letter that I got in the mail, be kind to your children. They're going to pick your nursing home. You know, and there's a lot to be said for that because we're now trying to decide whether or not to put mom in a nursing home. And I live in California, and I don't want her to go in a nursing home. My sister lives in Utah. She's not sure. And my two brothers are like, yeah, put her in. You know, it's like you look at the family dynamics of things, and you really got to take all of that into consideration. But the one thing that you need to do is stay in communication with each other. Talk about it. There are certain resources that are available that even has questions to ask each other. Now, what if you're the one? You're the one that's losing your memory. Obviously, I can prove that happens to me. Now, is it genetics? No, it's not genetics. Not in my case, not in my family history. If it is in yours, then that's something you need to go to your physicians about. You need to talk to your healthcare advisors. If you feel like you're getting slower of memory, one of the things that I really advise to do as a tip and a technique is to make sure you know how your medications interact with each other. Ask the questions. My doctor is an expert on medicine. I'm an expert on me. We work through things together. He knows how I feel about things. He asks me questions, and we work through them together. That's really the important thing to do. Rod is a retired dentist, so he knows full well that there's a procedure that one does for medications and medicine and procedures, even for teeth. That's another thing. My mother has false teeth. They hurt her, so she's forever taking them out. My father laughs. He thinks it's funny that she walks around without her teeth. My sister, she's like, well, I don't know what to do. They should fit her. And I'm like, would somebody please take her to the dentist to see if her mouth has changed? Which is exactly what happened. They made new dentures and she was fine. But when you lose your memory, oftentimes you lose a part or the ability to know how things feel. I was watching her at her 80th birthday party, and she was limping. And I'm like, oh, one more thing, you know? And what happened was that my father had bought her some shoes that were too tight. So she wasn't limping because she was losing the ability to walk, which was my first thought. She was limping because her shoes didn't fit her. But she couldn't tell anyone. So, you know, watch those things around the people that you love and who you are. And, you know, like one night my mother took her shoes off and I saw a great big old red mark on her foot. Well, she didn't know to look at that and say, oh, that's because my shoe's too tight. But we as the caregivers need to notice those things. But you know what? We need to take care of ourselves first. So we need to look at our own selves and take care of ourselves the way that we would take care of someone that we love. And then look to your loved one and take care of them in the same way. There's a wonderful, wonderful story in Scott Peck's book, The Road Less Traveled. And he talks about the rabbi's story. And he talks about having an extraordinary life. And the way that you would have that extraordinary life is to treat everyone that you come in touch with as if they were the Messiah, or the higher power, or the God, or whatever it is you think of. So why not take care of someone who's totally dependent on you as if they were the one to save you? And you need to start with yourself, because without yourself being healthy, you can't take care of an unhealthy person. And if you're the one that's concerned about your memory, of course you need to take care of yourself. While you're concerned, this is the point right now. When I lost those keys last night, it made me laugh this morning. It's because it's like an awakening call. It's like turning on a light in a room. Wake up. All right, now there's a great tip. That's how you keep more of your memory, is to focus on the moment. About wake up, it's like now. My mother used to say that yesterday is a memory, and tomorrow's a mystery. The gift is today, and that's why it's called the present. And one of the things I've looked at and I noticed in interacting with people is that if you're present to the moment, then things will show up around you. I didn't have the key to get us all in here today, but I stopped. Here's a tip, here's a technique. Take a breath. Get a little bit calm. Okay, here's the facts. You don't have the key. You need the key. Now you have to look at the steps are to get that key. So where did you put your key? If you think you're losing your memory, or even before you think that, have a place where your key always is. When I walk in my back door into my house, there's a phone right there, and that's where I always put my keys. So when I didn't have a key today, it was a key to this room, not a key to my car or my house or any of those things. You know, that would have been a whole different conversation. But if you want to remember where you put things, always put them in the same place. Repetition is the mother of skill. Keep yourself active. Keep your mind active. Do crossword puzzles. Go out in the community. Take advantage of the Friendship Center and the community clubhouses and all the places and locations that you have to take care of. Spend the time to do that. Expand yourself. Go to places with your mom and dad. About 2 years ago, I decided that what I needed to do was to give a gift to my daughters. And I found a book, and the book is called To My Daughter with Love, my mother's memory book. Some of the things that makes me sad now is that my mother can't answer some of the questions I have. Mom, when did you go through menopause? You know, I'm dealing with that. I'm 53 years old. It's something that I'm dealing with, and I can't ask my mom. Well, those are the kind of things that I'm making note of. The questions that I have right now in my life that I can't get an answer from my mom, I'm writing them down. So that, God forbid, something happens to me, my children will have the answers to life's important questions. Now, what are life's important questions? That's for you to decide. Each and every one of us is an individual. Each and every one of us cares very much for each other or someone, and for ourselves. So think about those little things. Anybody that you know that you think is having an issue, seek the help of resources that are available. We do not have to reinvent the wheel. When I first thought that my mother was losing her memory, I didn't know where the hell to go. And I was frantic. But then I noticed as I gathered information and resources, I was able to help people in all walks of life who had these questions and these concerns. So remember, the best thing to do is to cherish the memories. Because one moment you're in the wings, and the next moment you're wearing them. Be kind to one another, stay focused, love one another, look out for each other in your communities and in your families. If you have any questions about someone you love or yourself, seek the help of a professional before it's too late. That is my dearest wish and the legacy that I will leave to my children and to my community. And I want to thank each and every one of you for being here. About 2 months after we filmed this event, my parents were on their way from Salt Lake City to San Diego for Dad's 77th birthday and a week of respite, rest and relaxation. Driving through Las Vegas early one morning, they were tragically struck and killed in their automobile. It's been almost a year now since I watched this event, and I decided to take this opportunity to turn it into a tribute to the love that my parents had for each other and for the way that they took care of each other throughout their life. Let's remember them and the message they left about taking care of each other.